You ever look at someone and just think, wow, how are they so confident? Right? Some people just seem to glide through life with this unshakable belief in themselves. Meanwhile, so many of us are in a constant fight with that little voice in our head, the one that's always whispering, you can't do it. Well, what if I told you that voice isn't a you problem? In fact, it's pretty much a human thing. A whopping 85% of people deal with self-doubt. So if you feel it, you are in the vast majority. This isn't some personal flaw, it's a shared experience. And the secret isn't pretending it's not there, it's learning how to deal with it. So, in this explainer, we're going to lay out the exact roadmap to do that. We'll kick things off by figuring out what self-doubt actually is and where it comes from. Then we'll spotlight some of those sneaky, everyday habits that are quietly killing your confidence. After that, we dive into the good stuff, a science-backed solution called CBT, and a super practical tool, the triple column technique, that you can literally start using today. And we'll wrap it all up with how you can build a practice that creates truly unshakable confidence. Okay, so first things first, what is self-doubt really? Well, think of it like this. It's the gap, the space between what you want to achieve and you actually taking action. It's that moment of hesitation, of overthinking, where you basically talk yourself out of going for it because some voice inside says you're just not good enough. And this quote just nails the real-world cost, doesn't it? When that doubt shows up, we pull back. We don't give it our all. And, no surprise, we don't get the results we could have. It becomes this vicious cycle, right? The doubt leads to a weaker performance, which then just gives you more proof to doubt yourself even more next time. So where on earth does this voice even come from? Well, it's not random. Turns out it's basically programmed into us from two very different places: our ancient evolutionary past and our own personal past. And these are the two big ones. On one hand, you've got evolution. A little self-doubt was actually a survival tool. It's that primal instinct that stopped our ancestors from, trying to pet a saber-toothed tiger. It kept us safe. But on the other hand, our childhood can pour gasoline on that tiny spark. If you grew up with constant criticism, or were always being compared to a sibling, or just never got much praise, that can take a normal safety feature and crank it up into a full-blown chronic inner critic. And believe it or not, this has a physical location in your brain. It's called the anterior cingulate cortex, or ACC. The easiest way to think about it is as your brain's error detector or smoke alarm. Its job is to spot problems. But for people with a lot of self-doubt, that alarm is just way too sensitive. It starts going off for every little thing, flagging minor issues as if they're massive threats. And that's what triggers that wave of anxiety and self-criticism. So this overactive alarm system is often being fueled by habits, things we do every single day, probably without even realizing it, that just keep that cycle of self-doubt going strong. Let's take a look at a few of them. Do any of these sound a little familiar? Constantly comparing your real life to somebody else's curated highlight reel online? Or maybe you're the person in the meeting who just nods along, never sharing your own ideas because you're scared they're not good enough. Or maybe you can't make a move without getting approval from 5 different people first. Dwelling on past mistakes? Check. Putting off your big dreams? Check. These are the little things that act like fuel for that fire of self-doubt. Okay, so how do we stop feeding the fire? The good news is we totally can. There's an incredibly powerful science-backed framework for breaking these negative thought patterns and literally rewiring your brain. It's called cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, and it is one of the most effective tools out there for dealing with self-doubt, anxiety, you name it. So the core idea behind CBT is actually really simple, but it's life-changing. It's that our thoughts create our feelings, and our feelings drive our actions. It's a loop. So you have a thought like, oh man, I'm going to make a total fool of myself in this presentation. That thought creates a feeling, anxiety, fear. That feeling then drives an action, like you either avoid doing the presentation or you're so nervous that you don't perform well. And guess what? That just reinforces the original thought. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But here's where it gets really good. CBT doesn't just give us the theory. It gives us a practical tool to break that loop. It's called the triple column technique, created by Dr. David D. Burns. This is the how-to part, the thing you can start doing the minute we're done here to start taking apart that self-doubt piece by piece. Now, before we get to the columns, you have to get this one key idea. You can't just cover up the problem. It's kind of like if you have a really smelly room. You can spray air freshener all day long, and it might smell okay for a minute, but the bad smell is just gonna come back. To really fix it, you have to find what's causing the smell and get rid of it. This technique helps us do exactly that with our negative thoughts. And here's what it looks like. Super simple, but incredibly powerful. It's a 3-step process. In the first column, you just write down the automatic negative thought, whatever that nasty thing your brain just said to you is. In the second column, you identify what's called the cognitive distortion, which is basically the specific type of thinking error you're making. And in the third, you write a new, rational response to challenge that original thought.
Okay, so that second column is absolutely crucial. What in the world is a cognitive distortion? Well, here's an analogy. Imagine you walk into a dark room, and in the corner, you see this terrifying figure. Your heart starts pounding, but then you flip on the light, and you realize it's just your coat hanging on a chair. The distortion was your mind turning something harmless into a threat. Our negative thoughts do that to us all the time.
And here are some of the most common types. You've got mental filtering. That's where you get tons of positive feedback, but you laser focus on the one tiny negative comment. There's overgeneralization, where one bad job interview means you're never going to get a job. There's all or nothing thinking, where if you're not a perfect success, you're a total failure, no middle ground. And jumping to conclusions, where you just assume the worst without any real evidence. So let's see how this works. Let's say your automatic negative thought is, I didn't get the job, I'm just not capable. Okay, what's the distortion? It's overgeneralization, right? You're taking one single event and making it a grand statement about who you are. Now for the magic. Column 3, the rational response. You could write, one rejection doesn't define my ability. It's a competitive market. What can I learn from this for the next time? You feel that? That's you taking your power back from the thought. Now, this is an amazing tool, but it's not a one-and-done magic pill. Building real, lasting, unshakable confidence, that's an active process. It's a skill you have to develop, and that means practice. So I want you to start thinking of this as your daily confidence workout. The steps are simple. First, get really good at identifying those automatic negative thoughts the moment they pop up. Second, don't let them just bounce around in your head. Get them out. Write them down. And third, challenge them. Every single day. Use the 3 columns. Every time you do it, it's like a rep at the gym for your brain. You're building mental strength. And here's a realistic target for you. For those smaller, everyday doubts, give this a real shot for 7 days straight. For the deeper ones, the beliefs that have maybe been with you for years, commit to 21 days. That consistency is what actually forges new pathways in your brain. So let's end with this, because it's so important. Confidence is not a personality trait that you either have or you don't. It is a skill. Self-doubt can feel so permanent, like it's just who you are, but it's not. It's just a pattern of thinking. And what this whole process shows is that you have the power to see that pattern, to challenge it, and to consciously build a new, stronger one thought at a time. So, what's the first thought you're going to challenge?